Okay, so today I'm going to show you how I use this cash flow pulse tool that I've written. I got the idea from another site actually that just listed out income and expenses, but I found that it really wasn't that easy to manipulate multiple different views of what I had. And this is in the email that I sent you, you're able to download the Excel file and all the same things are here. You'll actually be able to set up and manipulate your own charts on some other pages that we'll see here. So to begin with, you'll see we're on the budget tab here, and what I put together here is my residual income chart. In these columns I've listed the client name, the service that I provide them, and the total amount that I'm charging them. So you can see here up at the top here, it's totaled by doing a calculation equals sum parenthesis C3 colon through C50. So when I click on that, you'll see it actually is totaling all these columns. So as I add more income, it automatically changes this amount. In the next section here, I've got my vendor name, what service they're providing me, and the total that I'm paying them. And again, if you click up here, you'll see that this is auto-calculated dynamically by using this equation equals sum parenthesis G3 colon G1 through G100. If I click up in here, you'll see that if I were to add anything down below, vendor service or service name, and I add $100, it automatically changes our total to $99.0775. In the next section here, I've outlined that my contractor costs. I'm a contractor of my own company, so I put in my income there, the writer cost that I pay out, my virtual assistant cost, and so on down here of which contractor I'm paying, what service, and the total. Then over here in the final section, I've got profit or loss, which is taking my residual income minus my vendor expense minus my contractor expense is where my total comes up here. So you'd see if I ended up having this vendor be providing me a service that was $5,000 a month, we'll say, you'd see I would be in the negative $297 here each month according to my residual income. That would mean I'd have to do one-time projects or make up for that cost somewhere. Then I have total expense with savings. This takes my two blue expense columns here and it adds my savings target. My goal is to save $1,500 a month for the business. When we take this total, I then divide it by 100 and I have this column called percentages. This is actually 1%, this 280, and then I'll take each category, divide it by the 280.58, and it'll tell me what percentage of my budget that expense makes up. So my monthly contractors are 41.88% with these numbers that I've written in here. Then I have vendors, which are 52%, and I do a breakout of what these are. I've done a special equation here that says equals sum G3, G5. I grabbed the specific ones that are rent and utility related for my office. So I know that about 9.09% is rent and utilities. Then I have my other vendor expenses that are not rent and utilities. I like to break that out for my needs of the way I have my account set up. And then I have my savings target, which is 5.35%. That totals up to 100%. That makes my total budget. And the reason this is important, you'll see, is when we go to this next sheet, I receive multiple different payments throughout the month. And instead of just having a single account that everything goes into, I like to break it out into different accounts so that I can make decisions based on what's available out of that account. So, for instance, I'll take a $3,000 payment and I know that $1,256 goes into monthly contractors, $273 into rent and utilities, and so on and so forth. Then when I want to pay a contractor, I know that I have that much available by percentage of the cash that I just received, and I can make a payment up to $1,200. Instead of thinking that this total value of $3,000 is available for whatever I think is most important, I split it out by percentage first, and then I make my decisions on payment. I also like to forecast what's upcoming, and so the jobs that I've closed and sold on, this is what this sheet explains, and you can explore that more yourself and manipulate it however you'd like to. I've then taken the same type of thing and done an in-progress worksheet that notes what I've been paid so far and what I have open to collect. I like to look at this because I can say, okay, if I cleaned up and finished these 3 jobs, then I have $8,842 available to collect there. So pretty simple, but it's just a good visual for me, so I know what I have open and what I can complete and finish. Then I have another sheet here that says bills due. This way I know I just collected a payment for $3,000, but I really need to collect another $3,000 in order to get these current bills that are due here taken care of. And at least that much, because I'm still going to split out the money I receive by category and then pay the needs that I have based on that. I won't dip into my owner's salary to pay rent and utilities. I won't dip into rent and utilities to pay my owner's salary. I try to keep these different parts of the business separate, and it helps me use money as a tool more effectively instead of just having one big pot that everything goes into and then paying all the bills out of that. It really, if you do it just in a single account, you really have no strategy or ability to make those decisions wisely. And so this sheet here, payment strategy breakdown, really illustrates that. I will list right here what's available by account, and this does not dynamically connect to any other thing. This is, I would pull up my bank account and see what I have available actually in the bank, and then make decisions from there. So once I update this based on what's actually in these separate accounts that I have, then I list out the payment names that I have to make, and I make the payment amounts out of the column that they relate to. So if I paid rent of $1,200, I'm going to see that I would have $300 left. And if I paid my electric out of my rent and utilities account, we'll say that was $250, you then see this changes right here and lets me know I have $50 left in that bank account if I do that. Once I kind of lay out my plan for doing this, I'll actually then sit down and write the checks or issue the payments through my bill pay. And the last thing that I try to do with this sheet is keep track of what I'm paying for on the different cards that I have, my Visa debit cards. So for my card, I can keep track of the different services that I'm paying for, and for my business partner's card, I can keep track of the service fees that we've set up on those cards. And the more that I keep this updated and accurate, then I know what my total monthly payment is going to be off of my vendor account, because I know in the past it's been easy for me just to put something on a card and not pay attention to what it's going to cost or what that's adding up to each month. But my goal with this is to know I have $500 in fees coming out of that account every month and make sure that I fund it properly. So that's the basics of what this sheet does. Again, it's my goal to have a really accurate picture of what my expenses are, and I try to keep this updated once a week, once every 2 weeks at the most, as things change, so that I can see if I had a client's amount change, then I know how my income has changed. Or for instance, if I have to take on a vendor cost like this of $5,000 a month, and that then puts me in the negative for my budget, what do I have to come up with every week to break even in the month? That's what these two fields here would do for you. And again, basically it's just a tool to help you know where your finances are at. this has been an easy way for me to break it down, but if you understand a different way to lay things out in Excel, then you can obviously make changes and adjustments however you'd like. But hopefully you'll find this helpful. Thanks.